Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, my home state, 309 miles across, Philadelphia in the east, Pittsburgh in the west. Ever wonder what it's like crossing this entire state by air? Hey there, and welcome to Philadelphia International Airport. First off, if you're wondering why the sudden jump from daytime to nighttime, that intro was shot later on and I just decided to use it because I didn't have enough footage shot here, as I had a very short connection made even slimmer by a delay. But anyways, today I'll be flying aboard American Eagle, specifically Republic Airways, on one of their E175s over to the Berg today. Gate A6 is located in Terminal A East here, which is the next terminal down from A West, where I arrived into from Miami not long ago. We seem to be one of the only flights departing from this terminal as it was noticeably empty, but luckily an airport pizza shop was still open as I was pretty starving. In total, PHL has 7 named terminal buildings, shaped in a kind of curved line with jetties branching off throughout. It's definitely not the most efficient design, especially considering this is an American Airlines large hub. So if you are connecting here, I would certainly allow a little more time than some other airports. As far as the concourses themselves, just being honest here, they're quite awful, except for International Terminal A West. But the airport as a whole is in need of a big upgrade, and they really need to do it. Take note from LaGuardia. Our plane today is, well, that's not the one, a little bit further, and there it is. N129HQ, a nearly 13-year-old Embraer 175 that has flown for Republic its entire life, but wearing 2 different liveries, first the US Airways Express and now American Eagle. Fun fact, if any of you watched my last video on board AA 787-8, the gate we were supposed to come into was on the other side of this E175. We actually saw it arrive in while waiting for an hour. But anyways, after finishing my pizza quickly, the boarding process started up and it's now time to hop across the Keystone State.
Route 7 Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
I was assigned group 5 of 9 for this flight, which is reserved for A Advantage cardholders. Your group number depends on what class you're sitting in and your loyalty with American or One World. For instance, concierge key members board before everyone, and basic economy passengers board last with either group 8 or 9.
Hi there, welcome aboard.
If any of you watched my Republic flight from Key West to Miami, you'll probably notice that the hard product on board this E175 is not the same, and that's true. I'll get to that in a second, but it is still laid out the same. There are 12 first class recliner seats up front with 20 main cabin extra seats following them and 44 main cabin economy seats filling the rest of this E-Jet. Both latter classes configured 2-2 across, while first class is arranged 2-1 across the cabin. I'll be seated just behind the wing here tonight in 17F. Sanitizing wipes were provided upon boarding, something Republic is very consistent at doing. And now for the seat. Armrests are the same as before, with the recline button being on one side, but while there is thick padding on the headrest, it's not adjustable. The rest of the seat though is quite comfortable and I'd argue better than any American 737. In front, legroom is okay, not bad, not good. The seatback pocket is decently large and is holding the safety card along with the American Way magazine. Overhead bins and controls are also similar to the Key West E175, but where it changes for the better is down below. There is a universal power outlet and USB port for every 2 main cabin passengers. On an E175, that's pretty sick.
Looking at the radar, going out there, we just came in from the west, so not the lower altitudes, not a bad ride, and we're not showing any appreciable weather between us and Pittsburgh, and the display isn't showing any real bumps between us and Pittsburgh either, so we'll try and get the smoothest ride we can. I can't always guarantee you a totally smooth ride, but I guarantee you we'll try and find out the smoothest ride. In back today, your 2 flight attendants. You have working up front, Kimberly, you have working back, Carlene. They'll be doing the very important safety announcement on the safety features aircraft. Please give me attention, do appreciate it. My name's John, I'm working today with Bart. I've done my one leg for the day, so Bart's going to take you out to Pittsburgh, and he's very sharp. He'll do a very good job. It wasn't the mess that the country and the airlines have been going through this year, Bart would probably be sitting in the left seat, and he would be the guy doing this speech, and hopefully we don't go into another mess with the airlines next year. Keeping our fingers crossed that way he can upgrade, we can all be happy. So if there's anything else we can do to make your life more pleasant, please do not hesitate to let us know. Bye.
Welp, it's now 11 months later, and are things any better? Just thought I'd leave that captain's speech in there as he had a pretty genuine moment with everyone. But after an on-time pushback and about a 5-10 minute taxi around the airport, we're now ready for takeoff on runway 27 left. As I said, Philly to the Berg is about an hour through the air, specifically 1 hour 4 minutes on tonight's flight. Our route will take us straight out west, flying just south of Lancaster, Harrisburg in the Amish country, before crossing over the Appalachian Mountains until we start passing towns like Johnstown, Somerset, and Greensburg. The final stretch will then take us north towards the Steel City and PIT. As this is a very short flight and it being at night, flight attendants did not come through the cabin with beverages or snacks today. But the tray table, as usual, is very large on these E175s. Not extendable, but that's really not necessary on this plane. During the heart of the pandemic, American Airlines was one of the only US airlines to still offer an in-flight magazine on its entire fleet. But recently in 2021, they decided to eliminate it for good. It included things like destination maps, hub airport diagrams, entertainment and food offered on board, their fleet list, and various articles related to travel and aviation. I never really cared a whole lot for the magazine, but I will definitely miss flipping through it for these videos here and there.
Pittsburgh right now, the box is about 40 minutes, so should have it be on the gate just about 5 minutes early, maybe in about 10 minutes early. Air traffic control has said that they have good rides reported, so we'll take advantage of that. Fasten seatbelt sign is coming on, folks. For anybody who does need to use necessary, you are free to do so, but we are going to ask when you're on your seats, please do keep your seatbelt fastened in case of unexpected bumps, and please also do keep the aisles clear to the extent possible. We'll talk to you a little bit when we start down to Pittsburgh, and just ask you now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
I think it's pretty safe to say the E175 is my favorite regional smaller jet, by a long shot. For its size, it's incredibly spacious and just a really enjoyable plane to fly on. I know there's some flight attendants that watch these videos, so if you do work on an E175, let me know your thoughts below. There are 2 lavatories on board this E-jet, this one being in the rear, and they both have plenty of space as well. Even better than some wide bodies, if you can believe that. You can definitely tell this particular lavatory has seen its fair share of use, but the space, like I said, it trumps all that. As I walked back, just took a look throughout the cabin, and while this flight wasn't that full, most people were on their phones. I won't go in depth again with American's in-flight entertainment offerings, as you can check out my Key West flight if you'd like to see that. But AA does provide Wi-Fi and free IFE on board pretty much every flight. Our cruising altitude tonight was only 22,000 feet, or 6,705 meters, which would have been really cool to see the scenery below, especially since it's such a clear night. But, in all honesty, if your main objective is to see what you're passing, take Amtrak's Pennsylvanian from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. You'll get the true PA experience. The Keystone State isn't a very large state, but it's definitely not that small either. I mean, it can take 5 to even 7 hours to cross it completely by car, but through the air, that cross-state trek goes by very fast, which means we are already descending down into the Pittsburgh area. Unlike the relatively flat terrain on the east side of the Appalachians where Philly is, western PA is all rolling hills and valleys, Pittsburgh itself being located in the latter. So let's head on down to Pitt's runway 28 left. And welcome to the other side of the state. Since I'm from PA, I've traveled between these two cities quite extensively, from 5-hour car rides to 7+ hour train rides into these hour plane rides. Haven't done the bike ride yet, but maybe someday. While they all offer their own fair share of benefits, flying is undoubtedly the quickest, with American offering 4 to 5 non-stops per day between Pennsylvania's two largest cities. It's not often the cheapest though, and is mostly used for connections in Philly, which I suspect most of the passengers on tonight's flight were doing. I always enjoy flying little night flights like this though, and the very friendly Republic crew really made this experience better than it could have been. Sometimes it's as simple as smiling under that mask and giving a friendly greeting that can make a flight really nice, and I think the flight attendants and especially the pilots did just that and more. Hopefully the first officer got his upgrade to captain as well, since this video was shot. As far as the hard product on board, above the comfy seats, decent legroom, and large tray tables was by far the universal power outlets and USB ports found below. That is really nice to see on an E175, and I would love to see those appear more on these types of jets across the country.
Not working.
And greetings from Pitt's Airside Terminal. That'll conclude this hop across Pennsylvania and this trip down to Florida. Stay tuned as the calendar month now switches to December 2020, a very momentous month as it'll be the introduction to first and business class on the Jazz Guy 13 Aviation. I really hope you guys enjoyed the flight today. Thank you guys for watching, and catch you on the next one.